management knowledge area. Now the third process is direct and manage project execution. So it talks about how we are going to direct the project and how we are going to manage and execute it. Execute the whole project. So what are the inputs that we will need for direct and manage project execution process? We have 4 inputs. One is project management plan, and now where did we get the project management plan from? We got it from the previous process, from right here. Then we have the scope management plan. Now again, scope management plan is the subsidiary plan for the project management plan. Same thing goes with the requirements management, schedule management plan, cost management plan, stakeholder management plan. These are all the 4 inputs. Now we go to the next input, which is approved change request. Now approved change request is an output from perform integrated change control, which is right here. And again, this is one of the 6 processes of project integration management. So we are going to take the output from here and put it as an input in direct and manage project execution. So basically, what is this? It is approved changes will need to be corrected. There has to be action that needs to be taken if there are changes. Your project management plan would be updated. Maybe your baselines might need updating. So we will need some corrective action, some preventive action, or an action to repair the defect. Now let's go to the input number 3 again, which is enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. This gets repeated in most of the processes that you see. Enterprise environmental factors with respect to direct and managed project execution are organizational, company or customer culture and structure, infrastructure, personal administration, stakeholder risk tolerances, project management information system, also called as PMIS. The organizational process assets include standardized guidelines and work instructions, communications requirement, how we are going to communicate with the team and the stakeholders, issue and defect management, how do we work with the issues and how do we manage these issues and defects that come from the whole processes. Then files from the previous projects. Anything to do with historical documentation and previous files and lesson learned are from the organizational process assets. Then we have 3 tools and techniques. One is expert judgment, project management, information systems, and meetings. The expert judgment is the same as that we have over here. Consultants, stakeholders, customers, sponsors, SMEs, PMO, and the project management information system. What is this? Project management information provides access to a scheduling software tool, a configuration management system, and information collection and distribution system, or web interfaces to other online automated systems. Now an example for a scheduling software tool is Microsoft Project. Microsoft Project helps you do the scheduling, helps you to put all the activities together in one place give the time limitations to all the activities that are going to be part of your project. It helps you level your resources. It helps you in a lot of different things. So it's a scheduling software tool that helps project managers to achieve their project objectives. Now, the third tool and technique is meetings. Now, meetings are used to direct and manage project execution. How are we going to manage and direct the project execution? So we are using again 3 different techniques, right? Expert judgment, project management, information systems, and meetings. In meetings, who could be the attendees? Could be the project manager, could be stakeholders, could be the project management team. Now there are 3 different types of meetings. In one meeting, information is exchanged. In the second meeting, they can all sit together and brainstorm. They can evaluate options or even design. And the third type of meeting is for decision making. What decision they are going to make with respect to directing and managing project execution. Now every meeting should be prepared with an agenda, the purpose, objective, and time frame. Now, meetings is one of the tools and techniques that are used in a lot of processes, not just in direct and manage project execution. So we have to know what meetings are, how the meetings are conducted, how they should be prepared. Example, with an agenda, they should have a purpose, an objective, and a time frame as to how long the meeting is going to be. Then someone should document minutes and action items. Documenting what's going on in the meeting, and action items are something that needs to be taken an action on. Something that the team might not be sure about, then they will put it as an action item so that they can circle back on that and solve that particular issue. There are 3 different types of meetings. One is face-to-face meeting, which is the most efficient. Virtual meetings. It is efficient, but it requires additional preparation. And the last one is a formal or informal meeting. Now, with respect to the exam, if they describe you a scenario and they say which is the best out of the 3 different types of meetings, your answer should be face-to-face meetings, as they are the most effective. Now, you could have a question, for example, the team comprises of people from different countries. So for the project manager, which meeting is going to be the best option? So you should know then it should be a virtual meeting, because face-to-face is not possible. Why? Because the team is located in different geographical areas. What is a formal meeting? What is an informal meeting? You should know what that is as well. Now let's jump to the outputs. Now the outputs for direct and manage project execution are deliverables, work performance information, change request, project management plan updates, project document updates. Now what are deliverables? These are components, completed to meet project objectives. What is work performance information? It shows the status of these deliverables. It shows the progress of the schedule. Are we behind schedule? Are we ahead of schedule? It shows the cost incurred, like for the particular deliverables, or how much has the project costed so far. So all that work performance information is given to the stakeholders, so they are updated on how the project is proceeding. Now we have change requests as the third output. So what are we going to do with the change request? Are we going to have a corrective action? Are we going to have a preventive action for the change request? Or are we going to repair the defect? Once any of the change requests are acted on, then we have to update our project documents, and these documents could be the project management plan, could be the subsidiary plans that are associated. Now the fourth output is project management plan updates. So again, you can update all the subsidiary plans or even the project baselines. Now, do you remember which were the project baselines? So the three project baselines are the schedule baseline, the cost performance baseline, and the scope baseline. So we are going to update this if there are any change requests that have been implemented. We'll even update all subsidiary plans, and we already know which are the subsidiary plans. It includes scope management, requirement management, schedule management plan, cost management plan, quality management plan, process improvement plan, human resource plan, communication management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, and stakeholder management plan. Now let's get to the last output of direct and manage project execution. It is project document updates. Now we are updating the project management plan, baselines, and subsidiary plans, as well as we have to update other project documents, which are requirement documents, project logs, which is like the issue log, risk log, risk register, and the stakeholder register. Now these all need to be updated as well if there are any changes that are implemented in the direct and manage project execution process. So now this was the third process of project integration management. Now let's jump to the fourth process, which is falling under the monitoring and control process group. In here we have two processes. The first one is monitor and control project work, and the second process is perform integrated change control. Now project integration management has a total of how many? You have a total of six processes, starting with develop project charter, going to develop project management plan, direct and manage project execution, monitoring and control project work, perform integrated change control, and finally is closing. Now let's go to the monitor and control project work. It has a total of 7 inputs, 4 tools and techniques, and 4 outputs. Let's see what the inputs are. They are the project management plan, which we got as an output from the project management plan process. Then we have another input called as schedule forecast, which is the time forecast. How much time is it going to take to finish this project? We are on a certain we are at a certain time right now. Maybe we finished 3 months on this project. How much more time do we need to complete this project? For doing that, you need to schedule forecast, as in look in front of you and say how much more time is left to finish the project. Same thing goes with cost forecast. How much more cost is going to take from now on to finish this project? Okay, so these are the 2 inputs out of the 7 for monitoring and control project work. Now we take these forecasts and we send it to the stakeholders, we send it to the client, and we keep them updated as to showing that we are going on track. The other inputs are validated changes, work performance information, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process assets. Now, what are validated changes? Now, in the previous process, we saw the change requests. These change requests are sent by the stakeholders, or it could even be the project team, and then we validate the changes and approve changes that are approved by the Change Control Board, or CCB, that result from performing the integrated change control process should be validated to ensure that change has been made properly. And who is going to validate these changes? It is the project manager. The next input is work performance information. Is circulated throughout the communication process. Example, status of deliverables, as in how are we doing with the deliverables? What is the status of it? How much have we completed yet? How much is left? Implementation status for change request and forecast. The same forecast that you see over here. Schedule forecast, cost forecast. Now, the other last 2 inputs are enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets with respect to monitoring and controlling the project work. So the organizational process assets are communications requirement. How it shows how we are going to communicate with the client, with the stakeholders, with the team. Then financial control procedures, how we control the finances. How do we manage the issue and defects arising from this project? How do we implement change control procedures? It's not like the client asks us to change something, we just go ahead and change it. There is a procedure that we need to follow to make these changes. We have to make sure with the change control board who will sit together and finalize if they want to change it or if they don't want to change it. So we have to follow those procedures for change control. Then we have risk control procedures. How are we going to control the risk? The risks that are in the project right now or the risk that we have forecasted for. How are we going to manage them? Are we going to assign some reserves for the risks? When are the risks going to happen? How much is the risk going to cost us? Is it going to cost us money? Is it going to cost us time? Then what else is the process that we get from organizational process assets from the company? we get the process measurement database and lesson learned database, as in from the previous projects. So all this the company already has, and where do they have it? They have it in organizational process assets. The last one is enterprise environmental factors that affect the monitoring and controlling of the project, which are the government and industry standards, organizational standards, authorization work systems, work authorization systems, stakeholder risk tolerances, project management information systems. So these have a total of 7 inputs. Now you don't need to memorize all these inputs, tools and techniques and output, but you have to understand exactly what each and every term means. And then when you are asked for questions, then it'll be a lot more easier for you to answer. If you try to memorize all these 47 processes and all the tools and techniques, you're just going to go crazy. So you have to understand, if it is a monitor and control process, what should be the input. If I would ask you, what inputs are you going to use for doing this? And then if you think about it, then this will make sense. To control the project, these are the inputs that I would need. I would need the project management plan. I would need the schedule and cost forecast, the changes. Why the changes? Because I'm monitoring the changes, right? Which changes are validated. Then how's my work performance going on? And the documents that I need from the company, or even the enterprise environmental factors. All that is going to affect, or all that is going to be used as inputs to control and monitor my project. Now we have all the 7 inputs. The next thing we need is the tools and techniques. So we have all this paperwork, all the documents from the inputs. Now we are going to use some techniques. We are going to do some action over here to achieve the outputs of the monitor and control project work. So the 4 tools and techniques that we use here is expert judgment, analytical techniques, project management information systems, and meetings. In expert judgment, what we do is we get the expert judgment from people where we review the data and we compare it with the plan, current, and the forecast of the way the project is proceeding. In analytical techniques, these techniques are applied in project management to forecast potential outcomes based on possible project or environmental variations. And to find that out, we use different techniques like regression analysis, grouping method, causal analysis, root cause analysis, forecasting methods, failure mode, effect analysis, fault tree analysis, reserve analysis, trend analysis, earned value management, and variance analysis. Now you have to know what this each and every analytical technique. You have to know what does regression analysis mean. You have to know what are the forecasting methods. What is EMV? What is it used for? What is variance analysis? So we are going to see all of this in the coming slides, a lot more in detail. But right now it's good enough to know that these are the techniques that you will use to monitor and control your project work. Okay? Obviously you need project management information systems and meetings. So those are the 4 tools and techniques used in this process. Now what are the outputs that come out of this process, which is monitoring and controlling the project group? Now what do you think what the outputs are going to be? Outputs are mostly documents. So the outputs, one of the outputs is change request, which which we receive from the client or the stakeholders or the team. So it is a document. So what are we going to do with that change request? We are going to have a corrective action, preventive action, or defect repair. If there are any changes that are implemented, what do we have to do now? We have to go and update the project management plans and all the subsidiary plans. Another output is work performance reports, which is the status reports. As in, this week we completed so much work. Next week we are scheduled to finish this. And how much are we doing right now? What we should have till the end of the week? So what are some memos, informations, notes, recommendation? All that would go into the work performance report. And again, who do we send this work performance report to? We send it mostly to the stakeholders. We have to communicate with the stakeholders as to where we stand with the project at that particular time. And the last output is project document updates. Again, we have project plan updates, project document updates. Now these are forecasts. If there are any changes in the forecast, maybe for the cost or the schedule, we have to go update those. We have to update the performance reports. If the team is not performing well, if we are behind schedule, we have to update that. We have to update the issue logs, as in, has the issue been resolved, or is the issue still pending? How much time do we need to resolve this issue? When are we going to resolve this issue? So all that will be your outputs for monitor and control project work. Now, as I said, there are two processes in monitor and control processes. One process is the monitor and control project work, and the other is perform integrated change control. Now you have to know all this falls where? In project integration management. And project integration management is for the whole project, is for all these 47 processes that you see on the screen. Okay, so let's go to perform integrated change control, and this will show you how the change is implemented. What are the tools and techniques needed to implement these changes? What are the outputs of these changes? I already know the outputs for the changes, right? It's one is the document which shows approved change request, change log, project management plan updates, project document updates. Now let's see what are the inputs for perform integrated change control. We need the project management plan. We need the scope management plan, scope baseline, change management plan. Now why do we need especially these subsidiary plans? Is because if there is any change, it is going to affect the scope, it is going to affect the baselines, and it is going to affect the management plan, project management plan. So it can even affect what? The cost of the plan. It can even affect the quality of the plan, right? But those are all subsidiary plans that fall under the project management plan, and they will be used as inputs to perform integrated change control. The second input is work performance information, which is with respect to the resources availability. Are they available? Are they not available? Now the resources meaning it could be people who are working on the project, or it could even be machines that are needed to do a certain job. Then schedule and cost data, earn value management reports. Then there is burn up charts or burn down charts, which shows how the team is performing. If the team is performing better, or if the team is performing really bad, and that will show in the burn up or burn down chart. Then the change requests are another input number 3, which will have a corrective, preventive, or a defect repair action. Then we have 2 more, which is the enterprise environmental factor and the organizational process assets. We have the scheduling software tool like Microsoft Project,